Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is David, this is David K Reacts, and today I am going to be checking out an original song by Pentatonix, and that is Be My Eyes. This has been recommended to me by a number of people, and one thing I realized, I've been very bad recently about mentioning people who sent me recommendations, and it's something I wanted to do, so my apologies for that. We'll try and get better going forwards. But recommenders included Chuck McCaslin Sr., Catherine Easteel, Ruth, Elizabeth Tucker, VMC Griff, Sean Boy, and more. And one of the reasons this was recommended was I was talking about originals in previous Pentatonix reactions, and people commented that this was a song that was written by Kirsty, and it was just a really, really lovely one to check out. So I figured I would do that. That is the plan. I don't therefore have an enormous amount to say about it because I don't have any background I can go into. I have no point of reference for this. So just really looking forward to seeing what she's done. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you haven't been here before. The way I am going to do this, the way my videos all work, I'm going to watch this through from beginning to end without stopping, and just enjoy the video, emote, comment over the top of it. And then I will go back, I will watch it a second time, and that time I will stop, break it down, interrupt. I say break it down, I guess, offer what analysis and commentary I feel I'm able to do so, and that will be the longer part of the video. If you're just here for the reaction, the first quarter or so of this video should be it for you. Please do like the video if you enjoy it, even if you see part of it. Please do hit that subscribe button. It's immensely important to me. It does so much for me, and it costs you nothing. You don't even have to get any notifications. You hit that bell for notifications. You can actually just turn them all off. Or you can have them all on, or just get notified when I post some of my videos, whatever works for you. And if you'd care to, please do head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts, and you can donate there to support the channel, and of course I would be very grateful if you choose to do so. My thanks indeed to Uli Nomis, who did exactly that recently, bought me some coffees. I am very grateful to you. Thank you very much for your support. This is a very short introduction for me, but I don't really feel like there's much more I can offer because I don't have any information on the video. I'm just really looking forward to seeing what's coming. I guess one thing I should say is I'm sorry I didn't post anything last week. I did mention in a post on the channel, unfortunately I had a nasty case of flu. It is still bugging me at this point a little bit. I'm kind of coming out the other end of it still, but I'm okay to be up, so I wanted to get back to it. But my apologies. Unfortunately, because I'd posted the voice play Just Sing a few weeks before, I didn't have a new sort of recording in the can as a backup yet. So unfortunately, it was completely dry for a week, but hopefully we'll fix that going forwards. Anyway, without any further delay, I'm just going to jump straight on in and enjoy Be My Eyes by Pentatonix. That wasn't quite what I was expecting with the sort of room sound intro. I like it. I love the different elements they've got going on. Water, highs, glass, reflection, distortion.
Where do I run right now? Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see. Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see.
This is a lot of fun, I like it. That ongoing rhythm section is just really strong.
I can get caught up on little things and missteps. You rebuild the ground beneath my feet. When I get lost, I'm out of my mind, too in my head. You're the camera to focus me. The stranger that I call.
I just love Kirsty's voice. It's such a beautiful solo.
You are when I'm too far down. When there's so many inside voices calling. Where
I'm also loving. I realize one thing they're doing here is there's a lot of color in this. I realize I'm not saying much because I'm very visually captivated by what's happening. Ooh, this is nice. I like this breakdown.
Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see.
Oh, that harmony's lovely.
Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see. Oh, yeah. Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see.
Lovely from the intro to the top there, that descant line.
Eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see.
Oh. Really cool. I like this a lot. Oh, nicely done. Oh, no, there is stuff.
Little white horses on carousels and quicksand. Am I one of you, one of them?
That's a lot of I really like that. Great job, Kirsty, writing that. It's a really cool song. I really love what they've done with the arrangement too. I think there's a lot there it has a lot of audio interest, and what's interesting is they've matched it with a very busy video. There's a lot going on in that, and yet because they're repeating shots all the time, it doesn't feel like it's too much. It doesn't feel like it's pulling away. It was drawing me in a lot, but it wasn't pulling me away from the audio. That's great. I really like that song. It's very clean. It's very much their style. I love the kind of there's an interesting. We'll go into this in a second properly, but there's a fullness and a depth to that accompaniment that's going on underneath Kirsty while she's singing that complements her voice so well. And then when you let Mitch break away over the top still and add that extra layer, this is really cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. Let's go back to the top and start this one again. It's one of those things, like, it's very there's a kind of trust thing in the song as well, but it's also very upbeat. Like, I think because it's constantly pushing forwards, it's that the beat's very kind of engaging, and it's energizing. That's I think the word I'm going for. It's a very energizing song. I feel very kind of, right, let's go. That's really cool. I like it. I love it. I love feeling what does a song make me feel in terms of how it makes me want to be. And right now I'm just like, yeah, let's go. So I'm going to do that. So back to the top, and let's see what I can pull out of this. So yeah, what I said right at the very top of this, I was expecting sort of a slightly more ethereal introduction to this, just from this kind of ambient sound we've got coming in here. I thought it might be coming in a little bit more, maybe on the ooze and the, some sort of legato harmony. And actually, the fact that they don't do that, they come in on a real punch at the beginning, it's a great kind of sort of starting shock, if you like. It kind of gives you a bit of a kick to get the song going. I like it. And this, it's such an interesting first visual. I was looking at this and I was like, what's this about? Judging from this. And of course, it makes a lot of sense as the video carries on, but I think I love the gold tone. It's such a warm, and this is a very warm song, and it's such a beautiful color to start out on. Also treats Kirsty beautifully. She looks lovely in this light. And then mixed with the glass with just straight water. It's clear things are so interesting. And I think glass and water, and especially glass and water combined, are also particularly interesting because, as we will continue to see throughout this video, they distort things, and they distort things differently, and things distort even more differently when you combine the two of them together, and you get these really cool effects throughout. And yet here, we're not getting much of that. We're seeing Kirsty full, her full face. We see, the majority of her hand. It doesn't feel like they're hiding detail, and yet they will use it throughout this video to strategically draw the eye places, hide things. It's really cool. But it's such an enigmatic first shot. And I think also you've got this beautiful composition here where she's looking off screen. The side she's looking off is in focus for the most part. Sure, a bit of, obviously a bit of depth of field there in the background. And then the side she's facing away from is out of focus. It kind of pulls the eye. And what caught my eye in this case is it's pulling the eye almost to read in the opposite direction, because we see her and then want to move left, where you naturally, for Western audiences, reading a Romantic alphabet or a Germanic alphabet, we want to read left to right. And so it's just interesting to me that, you do that in film as well. You naturally read left to right. That's just kind of the way that the human mind works, because we read that way in the West. And it's just really interesting to me that that's first thing they're doing is saying, here's Kirsty, now look the opposite direction. Anyway, I think I'm reading way too much into that, but just it's a cool bit of cinematography. This is so interesting. We get this very kind of abrupt introduction, like going from that bum. It just comes out of nowhere. It's quite percussive. The sounds that they're creating are quite percussive. So we've got this very kind of surefire rhythm that they're singing here, with hard attack on each note. Very effective. I also love that the way that they introduce, and I'm going to try and do, sorry if this is a little jarring, but I want to try and catch some freeze frames on each person as we see them. Because of shots like this video is fascinating to me. The composition of everything in this is brilliant. Like this shot right here, the way that we see Matt half obscured. This is what I was saying. We start to distort things now. He's half obscured by this glass. Interestingly, this is drawing the eye the opposite direction, because you inherently look towards the part that's in focus. But the fact that he's got this glass, the glass itself is already distorting. Then the fact that it is there are angles there, so over the part that we can see of his right eye, it's angled, so you're getting that part of the face already distorted through a thicker layer of glass than if you're looking at it straight on, because you're looking through a bit more of it. And then, on top of that, there's the corner that leads to an even tighter angle that blocks him completely. It's fascinating that this is what they've chosen to use here, because it's so specific to drawing the eye towards the left side of his face. We can see the watch, but we can't really see the watch. There's the hint of the ring, but that's hidden by the fabric, as is the ring on his other hand, actually. There's a lot of drawing the eye very carefully, hiding details partially. It's extraordinary. And again, we've still got gold tones, but now we've got this kind of almost peachy look behind. We're shifting the color slightly. It's really interesting. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this effectively. Oops. So we get Scott. Scott's shattered glass. This one's even more interesting. We've got the gold tones. We've got the peach. We can't even see all of Scott's face. Like, at least with Matt and Kirsty, you can see their entire head, even if not all of it is in focus. With Scott here, we've got, half of his face? Maybe 60% of his face? This is such an interesting introduction to somebody in the song. And it's quick. This is the thing. All of these are quick, but they're striking. The eye still takes details in. We still take in shattered glass. And it's fascinating, shattered glass is a fascinating thing, especially when you lay it out like this, because of course the angle it reflects from is slightly different. So we have the lapel of the jacket multiple times because of how the pieces are laid out, how they're angled. This piece over here is obviously angled up on this crease a little bit more. So this is being seen multiple times. We're getting this pure white, and we're only seeing the sort of undershirt a little bit, despite the fact that the glass spreads the whole way across. There's something about, I feel like these layouts aren't, they've spent time making something look really cool. And I'd love to get inside the head of whoever did this sort of set design here. because it is just extraordinary. Mitch, even closer up. Because Scott's was kind of a close-up in a way, even though it was from quite a distance away. We're seeing this of him. Now Mitch, we're kind of getting even smaller with how much we're actually seeing of his face. And what fascinates me here, and this is genius, we get just these, 4 shards of glass. One shows us nothing. One shows this very tight kind of Phantom of the Opera strip of his face. One shows his mouth, which is, of course, a fascinating thing to focus on for a singer. And we'll notice so far that I don't think anyone's mouth has been fully obscured. And the other one shows his hand holding the shard he is using to focus on his face. What a fascinating subject for this. Like, this shot is the one that really kind of caught my eye straight away, and I just thought, wow, that's fascinating. And I wanted to come back and see if it was as interesting as I thought, and actually it's more so. This is really cool. And now you get it from slightly further out. We see a bit more of what he's wearing, but we see the pose of the hand, how the hand is framing the glass that is framing the face. This is brilliant. I know I'm talking entirely about visuals here, but this video is extraordinary. And of course, we're seeing eyes. There's an eye for every... Kirsty was seeing both, because of course she's the one saying, "Be my eyes." But then we've seen one eye clearly for each person. And now we get Kevin's introduction. And this one's fascinating too, because you've got, in some ways, the reverse of Matt. We're seeing the other side of Kevin's face. The other side of the frame is obscured. But we've got the same thing, where you get one eye and the mouth quite clearly, the other eye completely blurred in this case. I'm guessing that the glass of water here is very close to the camera, not just from the scale of it, but from the way that the focal focus is working on this. And what's fascinating there is you can almost see, like, you've got 2 eyes here, the nose, you've kind of got Kevin's face. You see more of his face in the glass, with the exception of the mouth, than you do of him actually in the shot. And yet your eye is drawn, and again, we're drawn to different points in the screen each time this comes up. The eye is drawn to that left side where we see his mouth and eye so clearly. But you've also got these flashes of colour in the jewellery that he's wearing, the ring, the bracelets. This is... I've just talked non-stop for like 4 minutes about, or probably longer, about visuals in this, but my goodness, this is extraordinary. And even here, something even different, having the eye not looking at itself anymore. Like, we're not seeing that reflection clearly. And now you start to get... I'm going to go back one. Missed it. I want to catch that shot of Kirsty, if I can. Damn. Oop. Let's just do it this way. Okay. This one is extraordinary too, because here we have Kirsty's full face in shot, and yet there's this slight magnifying effect. Or is it even magnifying? I don't know if it even is. Maybe a tiny bit. Yeah, it is, but not a crazy amount. It's not like you see this and it's that sort of thing where you get the comedy cartoon glasses, where if they take them off, their eyes are normal size, and they put them on, and all of a sudden they've got bug eyes because the lens is so powerful. It is a magnified effect, but if you glanced at it really quickly, you might not even notice. But again, highlighting the eye. And in this case, we can see both, but it's still focusing on one. And the fact that there is a circle dead center of the screen kind of says, hey, look here. We're drawing attention to the eye again. This is brilliant. We're 12 seconds in, and I've been talking for probably 7 or 8 minutes about this video. It's incredible. Anyway, moving on. Oh, no, not moving on. I'd forgotten about that shot. Like, shots like this, I mean, it's a little creepy, but again, so impactful, showing us, you know, the focal point. We get this eye. Guessing that's Scott? Not sure. But it's potent cinematography.
Little white horses.
And I love, that's lovely, the shh. And then we see just a second as Kevin starts to beatbox. I love that you get that, because his mouth was pretty much closed, I think, if I remember rightly, the last time. Now we can see he's doing something, and then you just get this motion right at the end.
Little white horses on carousels and quicksand. Am I one of you, one of them?
And it's great because we're seeing everything through a different kind of lens. And sometimes it's the camera lens, and we have effects like this, where there's probably, I've seen this physically done in front of me before. It's probably like it'll be something that's being held in front of the camera lens itself. It might be a prism of some sort. It might be something as simple as a piece of cellophane. It might be they put Vaseline on the camera lens. It's just something that kind of gives this blur effect, but it's a different type of lens. And then you get something like this, where you have the magnifying glass. It's just the focus on lens, because that's what eyes are, ultimately. A lens is a key part of the eye that helps us see, and yet we're using lenses in so many different ways. The glass, the water, the effects that are being put on the camera lens, the fact that we're even watching from a camera in the first place, and then props like this. I think I'm pretty much done at this point talking about all of this stuff. This was a very deep dive into kind of what we're seeing here. But just straight up front, all of this hit me. And I think this is why I was struggling to sort of say more in the reaction of this, was the amount of punch that this video was having, because it really is fantastically put together.
Am I one of you, one of them? Television dulls my senses and reactions. I can't seem to find my way again. Stranger that
I really like that whole section. You've just got this very, very strong bum, 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 bum. That whole sequence that's going on down there. It's very, very well, clearly delineated, clearly structured, very obvious rhythm. It's consistent. It gives us something very solid under what Kirsty is singing, which is it, and it's the way it's been harmonized is very, very subtle but very lovely, and it lets us focus on what she's singing while, being aware that it's being supported and not being distracted by that support. Going back for a minute.
television dulls my senses and reactions. I can't seem to find my way again.
I love what she's doing with rhythm here too. This is throughout the entire song. She plays with durations of words. She plays with expected rhythm placement. Like it's not always exactly where you think it's going to be. And it's very spoken and really, really well-written music. The scansion of well-written lyrics in a song, it should almost sound, if it's telling a story at least, like it's being spoken. We don't say, I don't know, I'm going to the market. You say, I'm going to the market. And so the emphasis on the word market, if it is being sung, should be on ma, not on ket. Like, I'm going to the market, not I'm going to the market. It doesn't sound right. It sounds a little strange. You can do that if it's just a song for song's sake and you have a specific rhythm in mind, and a lot of people do to great effect. But if you're trying to sort of tell a bit of a story, it's much more effective if the ear hears what it's expecting to hear. Again, sometimes you don't want that. But she's using rhythm here really cleverly to keep it sounding very natural. Going back for a sec.
White horses on carousels and quicksand. Am I one of you, one of them? Television dulls my senses and reactions.
There's a good one. Television throws. You can hold that jean a little bit, even though it's television. The v is the emphasis. She can hold the jean on a little bit longer because it's television. It's not television, which would sound a little more strange in the tone that she's going for. Television. She's given herself permission to hold it by making v still more emphasized than telly. Very clever.
Television dulls my senses and reactions. I can't seem to find my way again.
Also, the senses and reactions. It's really clever because it's the way she's singing it is almost. It sounds like she's thinking it up on. It's quite musical theatre in some ways. It sounds like she's thinking it up on the spot. It doesn't sound like it's premeditated. There's the way that those slight delays in there that are in natural speech. If you're not 100% sure what it is you're going to say, there might be a gap. There might be... Actually, I just did one right there where I was like, there might be a gap. I didn't just keep speaking. You do that. It's throughout all speech. And it can add... you have to be very careful how you use it. But if you add it in effectively, it makes... Again, it makes it sound natural, is the word I was looking for.
Actions, I can't seem to find my way again. The stranger that I call joy is who you are when I'm too far down. When there's so many inside voices calling, where do I run right now?
Lovely lower notes from her. The voices... whatever she's going down to there. There's a lovely tone. There's a richness to it down there. I really like... her voice is so good in this. Everybody's is, but I love listening to her sing this kind of stuff. This is great. I just want to go back on that. I really like this melody.
Call joy, awaken. The stranger that I call joy is who you.
So we've pulled back a little bit, right? So there's you've still got this nice consistent rhythm that's going underneath, but that's mostly percussive now. The vocal accompaniment is a little bit more drawn out, and the vocal line is just a tiny bit calmer and lower, and it's giving this sort of tamping sense for a minute. It's keeping it a little bit toned down before we then leap up into the chorus. And again, it's a lovely use of the lower register in her voice.
You are when I'm too far down. When there's so many inside voices calling.
Jumping back 1 second. I was listening to the melody, but this shot here.
When there's so many
this is such an interesting one to me. And this was another shot that made me think how cool this video is. Because here we are seeing the beatboxer beatboxing, and the bit of their body, face, the part of them that is in this frame that does that thing is out of focus completely. That's a really interesting decision, because it means what it's not really doing is it's not drawing our eye to the motion that's going on there. And that motion would be very different to the lyrics that are being sung. So even though we're currently seeing Kevin, shots like this help us not get pulled away from focusing on the lyrics. It's not like, those moments where you focus... Kevin is in the videos I've seen at least, it doesn't sort of showboat quite as much with his beatboxing. But if you think about Lane, particularly in voice play, there's those shots where it focuses on him because he is very clearly having a show-off moment and we're meant to notice it. That's not what's happening here. We're having exactly the opposite effect. We're seeing him, but we're still meant to be listening to Kirsty. And this is just a really cool way of achieving that. This video is fascinating.
stranger that I call joy is who you are when I'm too far down. When there's so many inside voices calling, where do I run?
This is nice too, because you've got this. It's this nice. I'm just listening to the bass line here. This, I think it's going from the fourth to the third to the fourth to the third. Yeah.
Who you are when I'm too far down. When there's so many inside voices.
And here you'd almost think it could be. We could go to a sort of slightly cleaner cadence, but instead it goes back down again, and it just keeps that slightly kind of sorrowful sound, or not sorrowful, but like pensive and thoughtful. It's a bit more considered, rather than going to something it would make it sound maybe a little bit too optimistic for what the song's trying to do.
Where do I run right now?
And then we resolve back to the tonic. That's a really nice bit of harmonic writing. It was a good choice to be a bit more reserved and to go back down to that third as the bass, to have that slight uncertainty in the sound, rather than going towards the perfect cadence, which would have been perhaps the more obvious choice. This is really effective. One more
When
time.
there's so many inside voices calling, where do I run?
Right, and so I realised I hadn't listened properly to the lyrics. When there's so many inside voices calling, where do I run to? It's not when there's so many inside voices coming, you're the one I run to. And if that was the lyric, maybe you would go up to the dominant. Maybe that is where you'd have that da 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 dum. That would work. That's not the tone we're going for. It's still a question. There's still uncertainty. And so dum da 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 dum. And then it's the request, the goal of the thing. Be my eyes. It's not you are my eyes. It's be my eyes. This is great.
Calling, where do I run right now? Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see.
And it's just such a, there's a very kind of happy, this is somebody who's saying, be my eyes. I know you will be. I'm asking anyway. I know you will be. That's very much the tone that this is giving me. And it's be my eyes, be my eyes. There's something about it. It's the motion. There's a playfulness to the rhythm there. And it's good, of course, to vary. If it's be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes. Oh, I'm exaggerating hugely there. It's not interesting, but even be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes. If the rhythm wasn't different, that wouldn't be so interesting either. The fact that there's this variety going on here in this, it allows for those repetitions. There's a great story when Hugh Jackman was working on the movie version of the musical Oklahoma. He was asked at the time, every single time you sing the word, was it? I can't remember which word it was. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Or was it Oklahoma itself? Maybe it was Oklahoma itself. Every single time you sing it, you need to, give me a new reason why you are singing it. And it was that's such a fascinating thought process. And that's hugely musical theatre. You have to have a reason why you sing everything. So if you're repeating yourself, why are you singing it again? And it shouldn't be the same reason you sang it the first time. But that still does hold true for keeping interest in something. If something is sung multiple times with the same tenor, the same melody, the same rhythm, it is not going to hold interest. Not in the same way. This is really, really nice chorus writing.
Eyes be my now. Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see. Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see.
This is so lovely because the harmony in this, the way that it's been mixed, and I think the way it's being performed as well, the harmony's quite reserved in the sense that you can hear it there. You know that's, she's singing that, but you can hear there's a full support underneath her. But it's not, I don't know if I could sit here and pick out what chords are being sung because it's a very reserved response. It's not really in our faces. There's not this very obvious, I'm singing be my eyes and you're singing be my eyes and they're both equally powered. If someone is singing a third of her, it's back enough that I'm not even quite picking it up listening to it. It's nice because it's the way it works really well for the purpose of this song. She is supported, but the focus is still on her request. Very, very cool. Oh, I also really like these lovely little interjections from Mitch. And I'm assuming they're mostly from him because the camera cuts to him whenever they're happening. But like this whoa stuff, and there's a couple of other things he's done. And it's just really nice because they break everything up a little bit, but they're not distracting. Again, I've talked about this on a few videos. They're filling in the little gaps with things, and it's not pulling us away from anything. They're just there, and then they're not. And it's a really nice touch to have those in there. Just kind of gives us some embellishment and some points of interest to keep an ear out for. Oh, maybe Matt as well, actually. I just saw him do that one. I was focusing on the ones from Mitch from earlier. This is nice too, this there's just that little and I want to double check I'm hearing that right. Yeah, it's like ho whoa whoa. The ho whoa, the huh that's there. It's not oh whoa whoa. And even a glottal stop there. Oh whoa, the ho whoa whoa. It gives it kind of like a it makes it a bit more guttural, almost a bit more visceral. This ho whoa whoa rather than just oh whoa whoa. It gives it an extra like element, which is really really nice because it gives us some tonal difference. And then the whoa whoa whoa, it's a simpler sound. If they weren't showing the mouths, it might be a little tricky if you've never heard this before to figure out exactly what it is that's being sung. But because you can see the mouths moving in the different cuts that we've got here, you can kind of figure it out. But it's a nice touch because it's this nice little pulse that's going on in the background. It's keeping things, it's musically, harmonically moving, as well as having the percussion coming from Kevin. But I really like the way that they've managed it. It sits in there really nicely. Oh, and that's nice. I don't think I caught that. Is that Scott maybe that's doing that? So you've got the boom, ho wah wah hum, ho wah. So you've kind of got this dum da rhythm going on between the ho wah wah and the hum that's kind of hitting the bar, the beginning of each bar. That's really nice. And I also love what's so nice about this is they're managing to keep everything interesting while not doing an awful lot. It's quite a well-crafted video. Like there's that lovely moment there where you just saw the sort of slight corner of a smile coming from Kirsty, and I realized as soon as I saw that, I realized they're actually keeping their faces very stoic. There's not a lot of they're not showing a huge range of motion in this, and we know they can do that. But they're not. It's a more reserved video than that, and it's cool. I can get caught up on little things and missteps. There again, there's a very slight hint, the misstep. There's just a slight hint of a smile on steps, and it's small things, but you start to notice them because you realize you've been seeing more kind of like passive faces up to this point. I can get caught up on little things and missteps. You rebuild the ground beneath my feet. When I get lost, I'm out of my mind, you in my head. You're the camera to focus me. The stranger that I call joy is who you are when I'm. Oh, I like that. Ha 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 ha. That's a really nice. These little embellishments are what make a song like this that it doesn't necessarily go terribly far, in the sense that we're not verging crazy away in the second verse. We're not going off. There's not some crazy counter melody that's coming in this time. But those little things just keep the interest. That's what I was talking about before. That's great. Angel that I call joy is who you are when I'm too far down. So there we are hearing, and maybe I just didn't hear it the first time around, but there we are hearing a little bit of double track, I think, a tiny bit of echo going on. I'm getting. Joy is who you are when I'm too far down. When there's so many inside voices. Yeah, just a little harmony going on there. I said double tracking, didn't I? I meant harmony voices. It's there. It's not right up front, but it's there. It's really, really nice. Where do I run right now? Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see. I wanted to check out that. Eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when. Yeah, I was trying to figure out if. I just realized I don't actually know. Let's just double check when this was released. It feels like a 14th of October 2020. Yeah, I feel like this must have been a pandemic video. Is my thought. Just because this I may be way off piste here, but if you look at the let me bring this back up again. If you look at sort of just the edges here, the edges around the hair, that the way that pink glow is coming in there, where Matt's hand is here, I feel like they're green screened a little bit here, or composited in some way. I may be wrong, and please feel free to tell me if I am. I was trying to gauge that. There's just little bits of lighting, and it's one of those things that it's almost like the eye catches something that doesn't quite look. And sometimes it is just that the lighting was a little bit funny in that exact frame or couple of frames, and it makes it look different. But sometimes it's that there actually is a difference in the lighting, and even though you might look at it and go, I don't see a difference in the lighting, your eye understands that something inherently isn't quite right, that doesn't match the image. The light source is, it's 10 degrees off on this person's face compared to this person's face based on where they're standing next to each other. Your brain actually does see that to an extent. And I feel like that's what I'm getting right now. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this must have been, I don't think this was shot pre-pandemic and then released. I suspect this is probably shot from lockdown, but I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong. Oops. I also like the choice to have them all wearing white, by the way. Like this, they do this kind of monochrome look very well. I say monochrome, there's some beige and cream in there, but you know what I mean. It's a great choice in this because we do have these very vibrant golds and pinks, and the peaches and things like that. And why detract from that? And having the white on it, it's an uplifting color to see. They could have done all black, it just wouldn't have looked as good. But having all white, it's an uplifting color, but it also makes them pop against these backgrounds. Because even though the colors are light, they're not super kind of pale, and they're not in the kind of they're in a different kind of pale to the whites and the beiges, and so they stand out really, really nicely. Very, very good choice to have that.
I can't see. Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see.
Yeah, again, same thing. We've got this lovely chorus, and then we go back into this hum, ha, wah, wah kind of thing. I actually really like that because we have this lovely thing of, be my eyes, you are this trustworthy person, be that for me. And then we have this moment of this kind of just raw sound. It's not words, it's just sounds. And it's nice. It gives us a moment to contemplate before we move back into the next section. I love how much play they're having now. Like, compared to earlier in the video where everyone was just kind of swaying a little bit and moving around but remaining fairly static, we've got this kind of full-on dancing. We've got people, I love that Kevin had his moment there of like, come on. It's all this kind of motion that's going as we've built through the song. We've got to a point now, even just sort of twirling the magnifying glass. Subtle things. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to throw the magnifying glass and smash 19 mirrors. You can just have that gentle twist of the thing that was previously still and fully in front of the eye. Now the eye is looking at it and something is happening. And that's enough to draw the eye. And it's just this build. It makes the video pick up. It makes it happier. It makes it more ebullient. It makes it more energizing, as the word I used earlier. And I love this build. It's great. Ooh, that was interesting. This. It always fascinates me seeing, and I assume this is, again, I know nothing about vocal percussion, but I assume the sound that Kevin was just making there, the dong, and the mouth movement that we saw, because they chose to focus on him, he was probably replicating the movement that he did when he recorded the song. It always interests me to see how vocal percussionists do what they do. Because it's such an unusual, I've never tried beatboxing of any kind in my life, and it interests me seeing the mechanics of it happen through what a person is doing. But it's so subtle that, we've had this, the percussion, the boom, and you almost don't hear it. It's so quiet. It's not like he's coming out of the, it's not one of those. It's this very pulled back, but it's an effect, right? Which is kind of what the harmony is throughout this. It's all there. We know it's there. We can hear it, but it's not front and center at any point, really. And even when it is, like the ha-wa-wa section, for want of a better phrase, it's still kind of reserved. It's really interesting. This is nice. I love this descending line she's singing. And I don't mean the da-da-da-da in and of itself, but listen to the lowest note in each case. It's a really nice little touch. Just that single note motion. She could keep using that same top thing, the da-da-da. And because she's going somewhere else, it gives it this really nice sense of progression. And it's also, da-da-da. It's a 4-3-1. There's a chord in there. Da-da-da. 4-3 flat 7. Na-na-na. And now you've got the na-na-na. That's a 6. 4-3-6. You've got different sounds being created, different chords being created, even though they're being sung in pieces, and it changes the tone of what we're actually listening to. And even though na na na, you don't know which of them I'm going to sing next, when I then go back up to go da na na, you're going to get a different sound than when I then go back up again and do da na na, because you're being fed from a different point. Love it. Now there's so many cool things. I love that the percussion has just changed to clapping for a second. Gives us something different to listen to, a different type of tone that we haven't heard yet. And then this lovely, lovely just sailing over the top line that Mitch is singing right now. Just very kind of angelic. Not in any way interrupting, but at the same time just standing out there. Just like, I'm here, I'm up here. I'm giving you something different. It's really effective. Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see. And now there he does it again. He's over the top. But this time almost, in some ways, because he's now singing the same words and rhythm, it kind of starts to become a little bit more apparent. It's pushing just a little bit on the edge of let me be front and center as well, but it never really, it's still pulled back, which is what it should be. But I like the fact that it just starts to encroach a little there and make itself a little bit more known. That's a really, really nice touch. Eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see. Oh, yeah. Be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes, be my eyes when I can't see. And that's so nice. We drop down from, because this is higher pitched percussion than what we're getting when Kevin is actually going through the routine that is the ostinato, the actual rhythm for this. And as it drops down, Mitch comes down with it. So he's gone from being that high sailing voice back down into the sort of lower range of his register. And it's a nice switch up, because for a second there, where Kirsty's staying in exactly the same range, the arrangement surrounding her, if she was here, it shifted so that now, terrible analogy, she's here and the arrangement is closer up underneath her and Mitch is up top, and then it drops back down again so that the arrangement's further underneath her and Mitch is closer to her range. It's a nice shift. She stays put and the arrangement is what makes the change around what we're hearing. Oh, that's like, excuse me. That's really nice. And this is so nice because we've set up what's going on here. This hawawa rhythm that's happening. We know that. We don't need to listen to it. We can focus on all these cool things that are going on over the top. But they've established the harmonic pattern that they're going to use to have this lovely kind of freeform ending. Oh, what was that line? Oh, Mitch, that was lovely. Beep, beep. Be my eyes so I can. And up he goes. That's a lovely line right there. Oh, that was great. And actually, I sort of talked about what he was doing a lot, but kudos to Kevin. Like that, his patterns that he puts into these songs are really, they're so consistent. They're really good at supporting what's going on above. And I love that he doesn't, he's very selective about when he brings in some kind of a fill, which for the style of music that PTX does, he doesn't need to put out any flashy fills, and in actual fact I would go so far as to say shouldn't a lot of the time, and so he doesn't, and it's fine. It works so well because it gets this lovely consistent pattern that goes the whole way through. That is lovely. I really like that. The quality of the performances in this are stunning. Like, this is really good Pentatonix from what I've seen. I don't know. I haven't done enough yet to begin any kind of ranking in my head of how things stand up. But this is, to me, an extremely compelling performance for them. I think that was really enjoyable. It shows what they do. It's their style. It's an original, which, they write some really good originals, apparently, which is fantastic. I'm enjoying it. And I think just the variety, I didn't really talk about this much while we were watching it, but the variety that they demonstrated in their vocal quality that they were producing there. Mitch was shifting between his qualities, of course, although some of that was register oriented, but the amount of tone that Kirsty got into her voice throughout that, she was shifting around quite a lot with what she was doing and did a really good job of it. That's great. I really like that. That's a really good song. Very well written, very well arranged, and extremely well performed. All of which I would expect, of course, but it's, worth saying. Very good. Thank you for the recommendation, those who did so. And definitely enjoyed that. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for joining me. I will be back with more next week. In the meantime, please do like the video if you enjoyed this. Hit that subscribe button, as I said. Notification bell, hit that and choose however many you would like. And if you would like to, do head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts, and you can donate to support the channel there, and that I would be very grateful. And I think that's everything. I just really enjoyed that. That was a really good song. I'm going to go and listen to that again. Take care. Have a very good afternoon, morning, tea time, I don't know, second breakfast, whatever it happens to be, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.